So, you might have heard of a messed up family tree before. Well, wait till you see the family tree of this next story. It might have you thinking. I was adopted at 3 months old. I had a dysfunctional family growing up, but I was cared for and loved. Both my adoptive parents passed away in separate car accidents. My dad when I was 17 and my mom 3 years ago when I was 24. I had a semi-open adoption, but my birth parents requested my adoptive parents stop sending them photos and updates about me when I was less than a year old. I had a vague idea of who my parents were. I grew up knowing their names, and I did have several photos of them. I did a DNA test and was matched with 3 full siblings, which shocked me. I was always told they were young and that they barely knew each other and wanted to further their education. About 3 months ago, I decided to Google their names, and I found their social media. Turns out they're married to each other now, with 7 more children they had together. I stalked them on Facebook for a bit, and it seems like they have a relatively happy life. Well, I was shocked to find out that I've 7 full siblings, and that my sister, who's closest to the age of me, is actually only 11 months younger. I was even more shocked to find I have an older full brother who was not adopted out, who is only a year and a few months older than me. I ended up reaching out to my birth mother via Facebook, telling her that I would love to get to know her, that I have a great life, and that I have no expectations. She took a month to respond, and when she did, she said she was surprised that I reached out, and pleased to not contact any of my siblings, as they aren't aware of my existence. I did not respond for a few days, but I ended up just asking her why she chose to give me up, and why they never told anyone about me. She responded and said that I was a NICU baby. She and my birth father were 17 when I was born, and they weren't prepared to raise a disabled child. She said at the time they were under the impression that I would never live independently, and that they weren't in a place to have a special needs child. I was again shocked. I definitely was always in the lower price tiles for growth until puberty, but according to my grandmother, by the time I was 8 months, I was hitting all the markers for regular mental development. I have an MS in mathematics from a Tier 1 university. I was an athlete in high school and never had issues in school, beyond really just being horrible in art class. I'm married, with a child, and I'm fully functioning adult with a successful career and a family of my own, and it hurts to know I was given up on because of the slight chance I would not turn out perfect. Part of me feels like I missed out on life with my siblings as I was raised an only child, and that I could still have a chance to know them and love them, that my daughter would have a chance to have cousins. My youngest siblings aren't even in elementary yet, and I could have a normal sibling bond with them, or at least be part of their lives from a young age. And I wish I had that chance. I'm not angry at my birth parents for giving me away. I don't hate them. I'm hurt, but I'm not angry. I'm angry that they've requested I not reach out to my adult siblings, and I'm considering doing it anyways. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. I have updates for this story, and let me just tell you, things are about to explode. The first update comes 30 days after the original post. We're going to jump into that now. But first, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button right beneath this video, as it does help support the channel. And if you want more Mr. Reddito videos, just know there's 3 full channels that have daily videos. You can find the links to all of them in the description below, and let's get on with this update. I've now met all my siblings. What originally turned out to be 7 turned into 8 when I learned I had a full sister who was also an adoptee. I've spent every day for the past 9 with one of my siblings. I have 3 adult brothers and 2 adult sisters. My sister, who is also an adoptee, reunited with them 2 years ago. You would never know she did not grow up with them. The 5 of them mesh so seamlessly. I'd be dishonest if I said that they felt like strangers to me. I feel like I've known the 5 of them my entire life in some way, despite only a bit more than a week having passed. Well, they call themselves the first batch, and they call our younger siblings the second litter. It's funnier and more catchy in our language, haha. I am now part of the first batch text thread and social media group. It's odd and insane. They're unfamiliar to me in almost every way, but it's more like seeing a best friend after being torn apart by war or tragedy. My oldest biological brother is 29. My younger biological sister and I are both 27, though I will be 28 in a few weeks. My younger sister, who is also adopted, is 25. She'll be 26 on the same day I turn 28. The twins, who are the youngest of my grown siblings, are both 23. We'll have all winter birthdays. I cannot imagine what my birth parents went through. My birth mother had 6 children between the ages of 15 and 21. I understand why she adopted out 2 of her children. I can't imagine the weight on her shoulders. 6 of us are adults, and then there's a considerable age gap. 3 of my siblings are minors, and my brother's 12, and 2 others are under the age of 6. My birth father arranged through my biological grandparents for me to meet 3 of them 4 days ago. My youngest biological sister is 4 years old. She's the cutest little girl, aside from my own daughter that I've never met. She came to me, tugged me down to her level, and then touched my hair. She said, "Do you know you have curly hair?" I nodded, and she told me that now we were twins, because we were the only sisters with curly hair. I cried and laughed. My youngest brother is younger than my own daughter. My 12-year-old biological brother hugged me, and cried a lot. We're the only 2 of 9 who have brown hair. The rest have shades of blonde and strawberry blonde. He and I are strikingly similar. I'll say this again. It's so odd to see your own face in the face of others. It's never something I've had before, and in the last week and a few days, I've been overwhelmed by the shock of sharing mannerisms and features with these around me. I met my birth father. He explained that he was young and he thought he did the right thing, and he's happy to see I turned out well. He cried more than he spoke. Last night, I video chatted with the first batch siblings, and I met 3 of my first cousins via Zoom. They are a set of siblings, my biological aunt's children, a female cousin and her younger brother, all close to the age of me. They were born and raised in North America with an American father. Thought one of my male cousins lives in our country. He married a girl from here, and they have a daughter the same age as mine. I'll be meeting him and his wife on Monday. My female cousin and I look so much alike. I cried when I saw her face on the screen. My siblings and I are all very similar looking. We are clearly related. However, my cousin and I have the same face and laughter. It was odd to hear an American accent out of my face. This set of cousins is very close with my siblings. My female cousin is a flight attendant / cabin crew. This is only the other career I've ever seriously considered besides my own. It is also the same job as my own husband. These little coincidences and likeliness are the things I've been missing my entire life. She has a math degree, and she and I have texted all day today. Apparently, it's a joke among our extended family that her and her brothers look like they belong to my bio parents instead of their own. And I understand why. All 3 of them are brown-haired, dark-eyed versions of my biological siblings. And in this way, I look more like them. It is so strange to see my face in the face of others. Part of me is bittersweet about the years lost, having siblings near my age to brave the strange world through the lens of childhood with. Summer holidays in the States with cousins, who share my face in dreams. I did have a wonderful mother and father. I could never regret the life I have had. Grandparents, siblings, and cousins are all things I've never had until now. I have a reason to go to America, after COVID, of course. I'm going to meet my cousin in person next week, something I never thought I would say. My husband's excited too, to have a big extended family. We're considered a very young in our country to have children, and now we know other young parents. Update number 2. My daughter had her third playdate with her aunt and uncle. First and second cousins. Never in my life did I dream my child would have familial playmates in the same age group. I was always a bit of a loner. It was hard to make friends. I lost both my adoptive parents quite young and had no living adoptive relatives. My husband's an only child. I never dreamed of extended family for myself or my daughter. She now has living great-grandparents who lived in our neighborhood. I'm never going to discredit that love my adoptive parents had for me. They were amazing. However, my childhood was dysfunctional and heartbreakingly lonely. My life has been lonely. Now, I feel like I really would have people there for me, for my child. If anything crazy were to happen, I have a support system. Okay, so let's read a couple comments from the original thread. The NICU and health problems expectation really made me buckle down on my expectation for it too. It's interesting that OP says nothing really about the parents after that. I'm curious to know how that relationship's developed, how her mother responded when she reached out to the siblings, etc. Yeah, says the next commenter. The bio father seems to have supported her, but the bio mother not mentioned again, and I'm surprised if she found her siblings via DNA test. Those siblings weren't immediately made aware of her existence. But I guess some people don't check those notifications. Guys, let me know what you thought about this story, and if there's an update that's going to happen, make sure you subscribe because I will post it right away. Now we're going to turn our attention to the final story of the video. The title of this one is, Am I the A-hole for blowing up at my husband, for lying to me about my sister and her baby leaving when he actually kicked them out? My sister, 20, got out of a terrible relationship and moved in with me and my husband and brought her 5-month-old son. She's dealing with a handful of issues from PPD to depression. I asked my husband if he'd be okay with her moving in. He said absolutely. Not just this, but he was the one who picked her and brought her home. She stayed for 2 weeks and helped out around the house. My husband started complaining about the baby crying, but a newborn is expected to cry, especially at night. He said it causes him stress, although I suggested he just puts on earbuds. He suddenly told me to forget it, so I did. Last week, I had to go out of town to attend a friend's funeral without my husband. He said he wanted to stay with my sister to make sure she's okay. Well, I returned home the next day and did not find her or the baby home. My husband said she contacted a friend in another town and wanted to move with them and left that morning. He handed me a letter that he claimed was from her. This felt so odd, especially after reading the letter. I called her phone many times, but turned out my husband found it and said she must have left it behind. Well, I was worried. I had no means of contacting her to make sure she was okay. I contacted relatives, but they knew nothing. Yesterday, I got a call from an unknown number. It was her. We talked and she told me that she did not leave on her own. My husband kicked her out after telling her that she was no longer welcome, and she needed to take responsibility for her own decisions. I was in shock as she explained that she's not with a friend, but at a shelter, has no money. I waited till he got home and I blew up. He admitted he faked the letter and hid her phone, then argued that it's his house too, and he has a say. But he shouldn't have lied to me about my sister and causing her to be homeless. And he said I was being unfair and wrong to lash out at him for wanting peace in his own home. I went upstairs and refused to argue. I told him I'm going to pick her up tomorrow. He said he changed the locks while I'm gone and I won't be allowed to bring her. I'm thinking of going to a hotel, but he kept saying that I'm letting my sister affect our lives by prioritizing her, but now there's a baby involved. My nephew and I can't leave him homeless. I get that it's his house too, but I don't see why he's so against her staying. So let me just be the first to say, almost every comment in the comment section was against the husband. I have to agree with them. OP, you are not the a-hole, and let's read a comment. Not the a-hole. He waited until you were out of town so that you could not object. so that you could not protect her, as he not only kicked her out, but took her ducking phone so she could not contact you. He's a dangerous man. He threw a woman and her newborn onto the streets without a care in the ducking world. Guys, this guy truly is a vile creature. Let me know your thoughts about it though, because if you don't agree with me, that's alright. Just post your opinions below so we can talk about it. That's all the stories I have for you today. Please subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, because Mr. Reddito has daily videos. You can find me on 3 different channels: Mr. Reddito Animated, Mr. Reddito Stories, and Mr. Reddito Office Drama. All the links will be in the description. I'll catch you guys later.